Before we sit this morning, I want to share something with you. Something that I find endlessly beautiful, and I think you will too. Human beings, across centuries and across continents, have always been trying to understand the same thing. What is this life? Why do we suffer? And is there a way out? Some people have pursued this question in laboratories with instruments and mathematics. Some have pursued it in forests and monasteries, in silence and stillness. And what moves me deeply, what I want to share with you today, is that these two very different paths, taken by very different kinds of people, have arrived at a remarkably similar place. Let me tell you about an experiment, and then let me tell you what it quietly reveals about your own mind.
Imagine you are standing at the edge of a pond. You pick up two stones, and you throw them in at the same time, here and there, a little apart from each other. What happens? Ripples. And when those ripples spread outward and meet each other in the middle, what do? They overlap. In some places, the waves add together and grow taller. In some places, they cancel each other out and become completely flat. You get this beautiful, intricate pattern, bands of movement and stillness, weaving across the whole surface of the water. Scientists call this an interference pattern. Hold that image in your mind, because we will come back to it. Now, scientists wanted to do the same experiment, but instead of stones in a pond, they used something far smaller: light. They took a beam of light, photons, which are the tiniest particles of light imaginable, and they fired them, one by one, at a wall with two tiny slits cut into it. Behind the wall was a screen that recorded where each photon landed. What would you expect to see? Two slits, two lines. Simple and logical. Like pouring sand through two holes, you would expect two piles on the other side. But that is not what they saw. They saw the pond. That same beautiful, intricate interference pattern, even though they were firing single photons, one at a time, each one completely alone. Somehow, a single particle of light was behaving like a wave. It was spreading out, going through both slits at once, and interfering with itself.
The scientists were understandably troubled by this, so they decided, let us put a detector at the slits. Let us watch closely. Let us find out which slit the photon actually goes through. And the very moment they turned on the detector and began observing, the interference pattern disappeared.
Just like that. Gone. Two plain lines on the screen. The moment someone was watching, the photon stopped its wild wave behavior. It chose one slit. It landed in one place. It became ordinary, contained, specific. But the moment they stopped watching, wave again, interference again. The photon behaved differently depending on whether it was being observed.
The scientists spent decades trying to explain this away. They ran the experiment again and again. They checked for errors, and they kept arriving at the same conclusion, one that is still, to this day, one of the most profound and unsettling findings in all of science. The act of observation changes what reality does. Simply watching changes everything.
Now, I want to gently bring this closer to home. I want you to think about the last time someone said something that hurt you. A harsh word, a criticism. Maybe someone ignored you when you needed them most. Bring that to mind, just for a moment. In that moment, something happened in your body before anything else. Before the thought, before the story, before the full weight of emotion arrived. There was just a small, raw sensation, somewhere here, in the chest or the belly. A brief, unpleasant signal.
That bare signal.
That first wordless feeling of pleasant or unpleasant, or somewhere in between. That is what ancient meditators called the feeling tone. And it is innocent. It is simply information, like a gentle tap on the shoulder. Nothing more. The feeling itself is not the problem. But here is where everything happens. Here is the moment that determines so much of our suffering and our freedom.
In the fraction of a second after that signal arises, if there is no awareness present, the mind does something completely automatic, without asking permission, without pausing. It grabs toward the feeling if it is pleasant, or it pushes away from the feeling if it is unpleasant. This automatic reaching or rejecting, this is the beginning of craving, the first ripple from the first stone. And then it spreads.
The mind begins to build a story. He always does this. Nobody respects me. I am always treated this way. Things will never get better. I am not enough. One small, momentary signal in the body becomes an entire world of pain. A world that feels completely real. A world that feels permanent. A world that, after a while, feels like who you are. This spreading, this spinning of a bare moment of sensation into a vast narrative of suffering, this is what the mind does in the dark. And this spreading is your interference pattern.
The feeling is the photon. And when there is no awareness watching, it goes wild. It goes through both slits at once. It becomes a wave. It spreads and interferes with everything. Your relationships, your work, your sense of yourself. And you find yourself lost inside a pattern of pain that feels enormous, that feels solid, that feels like the truth. But it began as one small signal, one brief moment that no one was watching. The photon did not cause the chaos. The absence of observation caused the chaos. The feeling did not cause the suffering. The absence of awareness caused the suffering. So what did the scientists do to stop the wave? They simply watched. They placed a gentle observer at the door. That was all it took.
And this is what thousands of years of contemplative practice across many traditions have been pointing toward. Awareness, presence, the quiet, steady act of watching your own inner life, not to control it, not to judge it, not to fix it, simply to see it clearly. When you practice this kind of awareness, when you sit quietly, follow your breath, and gently notice what arises inside you, you are placing that observer at the door of your own mind. And what happens to the feeling when clear awareness is present?
It does not get to spread into a story. It does not get to build its world. It arises, it is seen, and it passes. Just like the photon that was watched, it lands in one place. It stops, it is done. This is not about becoming emotionless or cold. It is not about suppressing what you feel. Please hear that clearly. You are not trying to feel less. You are learning to see more clearly. Because there is a very important difference between these two things. When you say, "I am angry," you have become the wave. The feeling has spread through you and become your whole identity in that moment. You are the interference pattern. When you notice, a feeling of anger is arising in me right now, you are the observer. You are watching the photon land. The wave does not get to spread. The feeling is real, you acknowledge it completely, and then you watch it pass.
That small gap, between the arising of a feeling and the moment the mind rushes toward craving or aversion. That gap is where your freedom lives. Everything changes in that gap.
Now, you might be wondering whether science and ancient wisdom are really saying the same thing. Let me be honest with you. They are coming from very different directions, asking very different kinds of questions, and they would describe this in very different language. I do not want to oversimplify what either tradition has discovered. But here is what I find genuinely beautiful.
The scientists found that at the deepest, most fundamental level of physical reality, things do not have fixed properties until they are observed. Before observation, a particle exists as a wave of possibilities, not here, not there, but everywhere and nowhere at once. Observation is what brings one definite reality into being. And the great contemplatives of many traditions, not only Buddhist ones, have found that at the deepest level of human experience, suffering does not have to be fixed either. Before awareness, a feeling spreads automatically into craving, into story, into pain. Awareness is what allows the feeling to simply be what it is, and then to pass. In both cases, the observer is not passive. The observer is the key.
The quality of your attention determines the quality of your experience. An unaware mind creates suffering automatically, the way an unobserved photon creates interference. An aware mind meets the same sensation, the same difficult moment, the same harsh word, and finds clarity. Same feeling, different outcome, because of the quality of watching.
Now, let me tell you where this leads over time. Imagine you practice this kind of awareness, not perfectly, not heroically, just gently and consistently. You sit for a few minutes each day. You begin to notice the feeling before it becomes the story. You catch the signal before the mind rushes away with it. Not every time, but more and more often.
A situation that once sent you into 3 days of suffering starts to pass in 3 hours, then 3 minutes, then 3 breaths. Not because the world became kinder, not because the difficult people in your life changed, but because the automatic chain, from feeling to craving to story to suffering, is being interrupted again and again by one simple thing: your own clear seeing.
The deep habitual grooves in the mind, the patterns we inherited, the reactions we learned, the stories we have been telling ourselves for decades, begin to loosen. Not because you fought them. Fighting them only gives them more energy. They loosen because they are no longer being fed in the dark. Awareness is a kind of light, and the patterns that drive suffering depend on darkness to keep running.
When the light is steady and kind and clear, they begin quietly, gradually, to exhaust themselves. And what the ancient traditions call liberation, or freedom, or the deepest peace a human being can know, that is not a faraway destination. It is not reserved for monks or mystics or people who have given up everything. It is the natural result of what happens when the interference finally stops. When the automatic chain from feeling to suffering has been seen through so completely, so many times, that it simply no longer has the same power over you. What remains when the wave is gone? Clarity, warmth, a kind of stillness that is not cold or distant, but deeply, quietly alive. The meditators describe this as awareness in its natural state, not created, not achieved through effort, simply what is there when everything that was obscuring it has been seen through.
Physicists describe the quantum ground state, the lowest, purest energy state of a system, as the foundation from which all movement and phenomena arise, and to which they return. Before any wave, there is stillness. After every wave, there is stillness. The stillness was always there. I love that parallel. I find it quietly wonderful.
Since you woke up this morning, how many thoughts have you had?
hundreds, maybe thousands. And of those thousands of thoughts, how many did you actually see as they arose? Clearly, gently, before they told you who you are, what is wrong, what you are missing, why you should be afraid. Not many. For most of us, not many at all.
This is simply the human condition. Feelings arising and spreading unseen. Waves creating interference patterns we have come to call our life. But here is what I want you to leave with today. You do not need any particular belief to begin this. You do not need to belong to any tradition. You do not need to call it anything at all. Whether you were drawn to science or to contemplation, or simply to the honest desire to suffer a little less, the practice is the same.
Watch. Gently, kindly, clearly. Watch what arises in you. Not to judge it, not to fix it, simply to see it. That is all. That is where everything begins.
A scientist in a laboratory and a meditator in a forest monastery arrived at this same discovery through completely different roads. And I find that beautiful. I find it deeply encouraging because it suggests that this truth is not owned by any one tradition or any one culture. It belongs to anyone willing to look. You are the laboratory. You are the detector. You are the observer. And now, you know what the observer does.
So, shall we sit? Close your eyes. Take one breath. Follow it all the way in and all the way out. If a thought arises, and it will, simply notice it. Not with judgment, not with frustration. Just a quiet, kind recognition. A thought is here. See it arise, watch it pass. That small moment of clear seeing, that is the experiment. That is the beginning. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who can watch them. And that changes everything. What I have shared with you today is just one small doorway into something far larger and far deeper. The teachings the Buddha gave to his first 5 disciples more than 2,500 years ago at the Deer Park in Sarnath, the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, the nature of suffering and the way beyond it, these form an ocean of wisdom that a single conversation cannot begin to hold. Mindfulness, this quality of clear watching that we have been exploring, is just one thread within that vast teaching, one gentle tool offered here simply to reduce a little of the unnecessary suffering that most of us carry every day. The Theravada tradition of Buddhism has preserved these teachings in their original form for over 25 centuries, and they are open to anyone willing to explore. There is a quality that the tradition uses to describe the Dhamma, ihipassiko. It means come and see for yourself, not come and believe, simply come and see. That has always been the invitation, and it remains open to you, wherever you are, whatever you believe, right now.